So I hope you guys are doing great. It's Wednesday, right here, January the 11th. And I got a picture just a minute ago from our team out at the lodge that said, I just got a big shipment of boxes. And in those boxes were books. And in those books were Flip the Switch, which I haven't seen yet. Okay. So I said, I'm going to be out there this afternoon for Monster Producer. I'm excited about seeing those and holding that. If you've never written a book before, doesn't matter how many books you write. Every book is like having a new baby. I mean, it really is a magical thing to hold it in your hand, especially when you spend 2 years of time and energy and putting it into something. So when I saw that, I really got excited because I can't wait to get out there and see it. So I'm excited. As far as Friday's event goes, Joe Miller, I will get you a link to that. If you go to my website right now and look at Activate on events, it'll give you the option to upgrade if you want to do that. And when you upgrade, you get access to the recording, and only the people who upgrade will get that access. Plus, you get a one-to-one coaching session. Okay, so plus you get a copy of the book. That's all included in that upgrade for the Activate event. Okay, now we're going to spend time today talking about activating assets. Okay. And what I mean by that is when we have hard times, number one, I believe hard times produce strong people. Okay. And I told my wife last night, I was thinking, that whatever you want to call what is going on in the economy. I said, man, it kind of took me a little bit back to March of 2020 when we were right in the middle of the pandemic. And people really didn't know what to do to produce income, right? And it was a really tough time in my business because at the first couple of months there, I was off about $250,000 a month. Okay, and so number one, I tell people that hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings to be off $250,000 a month. But what it really did is it scared me. So Alexander Jones, what it did is it woke me up. And it wasn't that I was complacent, although looking back on that period, I had gotten a little complacent. Okay. We know that satisfied needs never motivate, only unsatisfied needs. The prey drive becomes suppressed when you're comfortable. What happens is your needs are met. And I was just going along about my business, doing good, generating revenue. And then the pandemic happened, and then all my speaking engagements got canceled. And so we were losing money. And at first we do what everybody does once they don't get the results they want. They pout and they whine and they blame somebody, right? It's the government's fault. It's this people's fault. It's these people can't understand what's going on's fault. It's the pandemic's fault. It's whatever. It's got to be somebody else's fault other than mine. And so I did that for a couple of days. And then I activated my prey drive out of fear. And I started going, look, I have assets. Assets are things that can make money. They're things that add. I said, but I need to activate these assets. Okay. And so I was thinking in the gym this morning that all of us on this call have assets that have not been activated. Okay. And those assets could be relationship capital. It could be products and services that you're not promoting. It could be new lines of business. See, I was on the call with today coaching a young man out in California who's 30 years old, and he said, Coach, I would love to come in and help you tackle the 18 to 30-year-olds. Okay, and I said that would be an asset to me. Okay, if I could tackle that group. And he said, I have the program. I have exactly how I want to activate it. I know exactly what to do. I was homeless. I went through this. I did this. I did this. I did this. He's in our Master the Stage program. And he drew it up. I kept forcing him, like, draw up what your skill set is. Draw up how you can be an asset. Draw up how you can help us create revenue. Draw up how you can make more money. And after about 3 or 4 sessions with him, because he paid a high price to get one-to-one sessions with me. And he said, Coach, you said it to me. He said, you said in our first session, find my skill and find a problem I could solve. And I would like to solve that problem for you of attacking that 18 to 30-year-old. Now, how many 18 to 30-year-olds are out there? How many of them need coaching? How many of them, right? So my point is that is an undercapitalized asset that we're not currently tapping into. Okay. Relationship capital, assets we're not tapping into. Some of you have assets, personal assets, and it's like you're over here doing this and you really should be doing this. This is the highest use of your time. So you have undercapitalized assets. So when you're thinking about these assets, I started drawing on my remarkable, what are undercapitalized assets I have? So Travis Hallberg, here's an example. I got a beautiful lodge. The lodge can be rented for weddings. It can be rented for events, but I don't have anybody promoting that lodge on and watching it every day. Every day, somebody should be on the phone with wedding planners, on the phone with meeting planners, following up, spending time with our marketing team, running ads, right? And there was a woman who came to me the other day and she said, look, I want to do this, this, and this for you. And I said, no, what I need you to do is generate about $250,000 a year with this undercapitalized asset I have. Everybody see that? It's sitting there, but it's not activated. Okay. It's sitting there, but it needs to be activated. Well, nothing is going to activate that until I go, look, I'm going to put somebody in charge of that one asset right there. Okay. So I want you thinking right now in your life, what assets are you not tapping into that you need to activate? Okay. This is why I was telling Coach Breeden, you go back and study Art Williams. They sold that company for like $700 million. And guess who? He was a football coach. He went back and recruited other football coaches and coaches, and coaches would be great at the insurance business. Okay. Especially the right ones. I remember coaching the #1 guy, Zija, who was, it's a multi-level marketing company. And he was an elementary PE teacher and basketball coach. And he had all this drive and energy. And he went out and recruited all these coaches. And I said, who are you looking for when you're recruiting? Here's what he said. Me, 5 years ago, I was making $35,000 a year, coaching other people's kids, exhausted all the time, sick of not making any money. So he basically got in that business, went to the top of that business, and then recruited all of his friends. And now they're all still making money to this day. I just saw yesterday, they were at their convention and they're all like the top 10 dudes in the company. So they're all making 6 or 7 figures. He had assets. He had intelligence. He had knowledge. He had skill. He had desire. He had confidence. He just had the wrong vehicle, right? He just had the wrong vehicle. Okay. So for you, when you're thinking about activation, it's like, what can I tap into that has not activated? Okay. But it's just sitting there and it's waiting. Some of it's just, you don't have the knowledge you need to activate it. Okay. Craig and I spent the 2 days with the top real estate investor the last 2 days. Is doing $1 million a year in real estate rents. And he's got all this knowledge. He grew up on a farm. He has done everything. He's operated apartment complexes. He's raised capital. He knows how to do a deal any way you can imagine. And it's like, man, you got all these assets, intellectual assets. Now we need to put those assets to work. So what we did is we spent 2 days with him, helping him build out 4 ways he could monetize his knowledge. People could invest with him. They could coach with him. He could consult them. He could partner with them, or they could use his infrastructure to do deals. Right. So what we're really doing there is he's had all these assets in his brain. What we did is pull it out of him, package it up, because that's kind of one of my skill sets. And then I said, this is how you can make money. This is how you can make more money.
Texas Horn.
You could add. So how many of you think you need to be maybe diversified a little bit in your assets right now?
No.
And you need a couple other ways to generate income.
This guy's license, he lives up in Dallas.
Okay. So you got to step back and you got to say, if I'm a real estate agent and man, I'm having a hard time selling houses, what other assets can I activate?
How much?
25%.
Okay. What can I do?
Well,
What can I do to activate an
Oh,
asset?
yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not currently activated. And I guarantee you, there is an asset. So, okay, so let's look at our assets. Knowledge is an asset. But more importantly, specific knowledge right now is an asset. So think specialist, not generalist. Specialist, not generalist. Okay. Number 2, skill is an asset. Think Navy SEAL, very specific skill. Okay, very specific skill that you have. It's got to solve a problem for somebody who would pay for it. Number 3, Prey Drive is an asset. Just teaching people how to get up and go get it every day, okay, is a huge asset. Number 4, confidence is an asset, or it's a huge liability for some people who don't have it. Would you agree? Okay. Now, the 5th one is relationship capital is an asset. Now, I want to show you what I do with relationships. I partner with people to get access to more people. And you don't need more money, you need more people. Okay. So what I do is I go, okay, let's come up with something, gimmick, strategy to get in front of people. Now, this is an example. I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina to do some events for some EXP agents. Okay. I'm going to Orlando to do some things. And I just call my relationships and I say, hey, man, I'm going to be in Miami. Let's do a private mastermind with 10 of your best people. Okay. Doesn't have to be a big event. You don't have to spend a bunch of money. Let's put 10 of your best people in a room and let me spend some time with them. Would that be good? And people are like, absolutely. Let me bring team members to you. If you could activate their Prey Drive. So when I'm in Orlando, here's what I say. Get your team together. Let me spend about an hour with your team. And they go, done. How fast can I get them there? See, all I'm doing is I'm leveraging my relational assets because I believe you don't need more money. You need more people. And if you can get me in front of more people, there's got to be a way we can generate money. Okay. So let's take like Veronica with your book. That book is an asset. Okay. But it's only an asset if you know how to activate it. Because I won't make $1 million or flip the switch. But how many of you think I'll make $1 million plus with the concept of Prey Drive? Raise your hand, please. Okay. I'm low on confidence today. Come on, Craig. Craig had me in the gym at 5 a.m. this morning. Okay. I'll guarantee you I can make $1 million plus with the concept of Prey Drive. Okay. It ain't the book that's going to make me the money. It's the concept. The book is just an asset, but it's not an asset if it is not utilized. So I got to build a coaching program around it. I got to build events around it. I got to get people. Guys, we already got 1,000 people, over 1,000 people registered for our Friday event, Activate. We got 100 people in the room, 1,000 online. There's got to be a way if we put 1,000 people focused on one thing for a day that we can generate income. Now, what did I use, Travis, to get 1,000 people there? Tony Thornhill, what did I use? I used the book. So the book is nothing more than an asset, right, Arturo? The book is an asset only if I use the book to get more people. Does everybody understand that? If you don't use the book to get more people, then you might as well not even have a book. Okay, so if we coach this guy, Jeff Brawley is his name, into writing a book, then the book will just sit there on a bookshelf. I got books sitting on my bookshelf over here that I've never got a phone call from any of those people. Okay, my goal is that every person that buys a book and goes through my funnel will get a phone call from somebody. They will get a text message. They will get an email. Like I bought all these books on my bookshelf. I've never gotten one phone call from any of these people I bought a book from. I should be getting a phone call, not to sell me something, but to say, Ryan Taylor, I noticed you bought my book. Thank you for buying that book. I'm doing a free event. Thank you for buying 10 copies of the book. I'm doing a free event on the 13th of this month. Coach Burt would like to personally invite you to that. If you could spend time with the author breaking the book down, would that be valuable for you? See, the phone call is not to sell something, Ben Barry. The phone call is just to connect and locate and see what are you trying to do? Man, I'm trying to build my team. All the Prey Drives deactivate. Man, what if we did could you get your whole team there on Friday with Coach? See where I'm going? Now, do you think the probability is higher, Tim McCormick, for them to do something with me after I do that, or lower after they spend a day with me? It's higher. Do you think it's higher when people spend time with me in Orlando or Texas or wherever, or lower? This is a game of probability. And so all I'm doing is taking a book and using the book as an asset to generate leads. So when people say I want to write a book, I say, what's the purpose of the book? Do you want to become famous? Do you want to use the book to generate leads for your coaching business? Do you want to use it as a lead magnet? Now, Al Stasic at EXP came to me and said, can we take your book $1 Million Follow-Up tweak it some for real estate agents and call it $1 Million Follow-Up for real estate agents. They did this with Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning. And I said, sure. I spent one Sunday afternoon reworking that book. Took me 3 hours. We changed the color. We put Jay's picture on it. Jay Kinder, Al Stasic. We did a free webinar, attracted 100 plus people to it. Then we're going to do a 4-hour session on the 24th. It's $97. You get the book. And we're using that to generate leads. They're going to use it to generate leads to attract to their real estate business. I'm going to use it to generate new people for the coaching business. That's a win for them. It's a win for me. Everybody see that? That is activating an asset. The asset was just sitting there. So I got to give Al Stasic credit because he said, man, you got this book, $1 Million Follow-Up. I know you're on the new books, but let's go back and use that book because the follow-up, there's millions being lost in the follow-up right now of people not following up. So I said, good idea. He activated that asset. Okay. Now let's stop there. Craig, where do you think you have undercapitalized assets?
Where do I start?
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'd say there's so many
I
different
still
things
can't hear you for some reason. I'm seeing you talk, but I can't hear you. I'm going to call on a few people, and I want you really thinking about this. I'm going to be talking about this in my Monster Producer program this afternoon for all my monsters. One of the 5 expansion activities, one of the 5 is that. Okay. Oh, you guys can hear Craig? Okay. Sorry. I can't, for some reason, I can't hear him. Let me see.
Try now.
Okay. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
I would say, a lot of times we look at like opportunities where you can make money and where you should be making money. So there's a couple different ways to go about this. We've talked about many different things where, I have like 4 different companies that I'm a part of. I shouldn't be involved in every single one of those pieces. But I mean, those are places where if you hire the right people and they're doing the right things for you, you can have those assets use, and grow, or opposed to them just sitting there and being stagnant. So, and if they're not, then take those assets off the table and don't put any brain power into it. So I have the gym, I have a software company that does CRMs, I have a software company that does fitness programs, and I have an intellectual property where I do mindset coaching, and that's what I'm doing with Coach. And, obviously the analytical skills that I have. So there's a lot of different pieces that I can put together. Where am I in fulfillment and which ones do I need to activate? So, I mean, essentially you should look at the list of things that you can do. Where can you add value to it, and who can add value to it for you?
And right now, guys, you should be focused on revenue producing activities. Any way you can generate revenue is what you should be doing right now. So I said to Craig, look, you're a smart dude. I got problems running a business. I need you to solve these 4 problems for me. Okay. Now I'm going to pay you. Solve these problems. That's going to help our company generate money. Okay. That's how you need to be thinking. Now, some of you are thinking, I can't hire people. Listen, I'm hiring salespeople right now on high commissions that don't want a base. They just want a high commission. And I'm perfectly fine giving away a high commission if they come in and produce, because they're 100% commission people. So my point is, if you can help us generate revenue, I'm like, look, man, I'll give you the leads. I'll get out there and promote it. I'll give you the coaching. I'll put you to work. All you got to do is show up with a good attitude and get on the phones and let's help somebody. Okay. So my point is, you can't get caught up in like this woman at the lodge. She may say, I need a little bit of base to keep me going, keep the food on my table. But I want a good upside on commission. Okay, we can work that deal out. If you help me generate $250,000, I want you to make money. I told my team this morning, I want them to make $1 million in commissions. I don't want to be involved in the selling. I want them to sell it. So my point is, we have considerations. Oh, it's going to cost us a lot of money to build a team. This kid from California this morning told me, he said, Coach, I'll move to Tennessee right now if I can do this for you. All I need is a little bit of money to eat on to get going. And he said, I don't need a bunch of money. See, we kind of have these assumptions, like it's going to cost a lot of money. I can't add any people during this period. There's a creative way to do it. Look, we want to work with you. How can we work with you? That's a win for you. That's a win for us. But everybody should be focusing on revenue producing activity right now. Everybody. That's the number one thing you can do. Shake deals loose. Okay. And if you just look at what I'm doing, I'm going, okay, I'm just sitting back and I'm drawing up all of my assets. And I'm going, how do I activate this asset? And maybe it's one person at a time. Maybe it's adding one. I had a woman reach out to me last night that I love. Says, Coach, I want to work with you on the insurance business. Okay, great. Already got her license. I said, okay, let's go. Let's get you contracted. Let's get you in the game. Let's get you moving. See, my point is, it doesn't happen fast, but this is the way I want you thinking. Okay. I did not know the difference between an asset and a liability when I was 31 years old. I was a basketball coach. I never thought about money. I never had more than $2,500 in my bank account, ever. Y'all with me? When I retired from coaching, I had $7,500 in my bank account. I don't even know where it came from, to be honest with you, because I didn't really save any money. I didn't have any money to save. I had $10,000 in a retirement account. That's it. After 10 years of coaching, I mean, 30,000, excuse me, 10 years of teaching, I had 30,000 in my retirement account. And I had $7,500 in my bank account. And I didn't know the difference between an asset and a liability. And the first thing I did is went to the bookstore, bought a book called How to Grow Your Financial IQ, bought Cash Flow Quadrant by Kiyosaki, bought Rich Dad, Poor Dad, bought Retire Young, Retire Rich. Then I start going, okay, people are assets or liabilities. We're either adding or we're subtracting. And the people who make the most money add the most value. Okay. And liabilities cost us something: time, energy, money. A bad attitude's a liability. Having small thinking is a liability. Blaming everybody else is a liability. Creating friction is a liability. And I started going, you know what? I can become an asset to people. Energy, strategy, mindset, coaching. Okay. So today I've been trying to close on a couple for our couples retreat who the wife's been telling me the whole time, Coach, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. I just want to get my husband on board. I made one phone call to him, Joe Miller. Here's what it was: just one phone call a day. He said, Coach, I love you. He said, man, it means the world to me. You'd pick up the phone and call me. I said, let me explain it to you in 2 minutes. He said, sign us up. I'm in. Took one phone call for me. That was it. I should have done that 30 days ago when she said to me, I want to do it, get with my husband. I should have already done it. I don't even know why I didn't do it. I kept talking to her. I kept telling her. She was already sold on doing it. She just said, explain it to my husband and we want to do it, right? And so I talked to him for 5 minutes. He said, I'm in. See, I was not thinking. I just kept trying to get her to sell him when I should have said, give me his phone number. Let me talk to him. Because it took all of 4 minutes for him to commit. Okay. That produced revenue. That produces revenue for our company. So all I do is I start with the problem. I don't start with the concept. I start with the problem. And I go, what is the problem that people have that I am uniquely qualified to solve? Then how do I create a product that solves that problem? Now, how many of you have undercapitalized products and services right now? All of us do. Okay. So think of this. The only way it's going to grow is to put focus and energy on it. So you could sit down today and say, here are 3 undercapitalized assets that I have. Could be in people, could be in programs, could be in sales, could be in, there's something. You may have the people on the bus. I told my team, I don't know that I don't have every person on my team on the wrong seat on the bus. That's what I told them this morning. I said, I like all of you. I love all of you. Actually, I appreciate your loyalty, but I'd be dang if I don't think every one of you is in the wrong spot, doing the wrong thing. Okay. And that's my fault. So I'm going to put you in the right spot. I'm going to keep going until I find the right spot for you. Okay. And so what I did is I had them in spots where they were good, but they couldn't be great because it wasn't their natural inclination. Okay. So that's an undercapitalized asset. Okay. So I just want you to leave today's session going, okay, what's my liabilities? Any vendor relationship you have right now that is not helping you advance is a liability to you. And I'm guaranteeing you, I could find probably 5 or 10,000 in your budget you're wasting on something. So you got relationships that have become liabilities. Okay. Anything that's costing you, bad attitude. My mind's going to the sewer cycle every day. I'm telling myself it's hard to do something. I'm too lazy to pick up the phone and call people. Those are all liabilities. Those are costing you. And then I want you to write on the other side, these are all assets that I need to activate. Okay. These are assets that I need to activate. And some of it is going to take the pay drive just to create it. Okay. Now I raised right at $1 million for the Greatness Factory of Nashville. The budget came in yesterday, by the way, 1.2 million over budget. I'm like, it's 8,000 square foot, for God's sakes. How is it $2.5 million to build 8,000 square foot? Okay. I'm sitting there like, what do we have? Gold plated toilets. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So now I got to go to work on trying to find how to put this thing together at a price I could live with. But my point is, there's a few people in the cycle that have been total liabilities the whole time. Total liabilities. Can't get the numbers in on time, bad attitude, can't communicate well, Well, yesterday, one of those liabilities, my project team said to me, would you be open to looking at another team to do this? See, one of those people that's been slow to respond, had a bad attitude, can't get the numbers together. Somebody said, coach, would you be open to looking at somebody else to do this? And I said, 100%. You go find me somebody else to do this, and I'll 100% kick that one out with my own foot. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, how much does liabilities cost you? How much does a bad attitude cost you? How much does not following up with people cost you? How much is not being positive with people cost you? How much is not being motivated cost you? See, these are all liabilities. Okay. And that's really the purpose of Pray Drive, which is literally to get up and go get it every day. Okay. Now, is there any questions that you have on this asset? Because today is about activating assets. And tonight, when I teach the Monster Producers, for those of you in Monster Producer, you've got a course at 4 p.m. today with me. It's live. One of the 5 expansive mindsets is activating assets. One is finding your missing structures, and one is activating assets. Okay, because to me, I got all kinds of assets that could be activated. So Michael Miller, what's an asset you need to activate?
Well, I just wrote down, I really like what you said is what's not being positive cost me.
Yeah.
Really got me thinking about what are my assets and what are my liabilities. And, I do all these jumping jacks. I'm happy. But on the inside of my mind, I'm like, oh, I hate to pick up the phone. I know what this guy's going to say. I don't say that out loud, but that's what's going on in my mind. And I need to, you just taught me that.
Yeah. The conscious thought, we call that the sewer cycle, by the way. The conscious thought produces an unconscious emotion. So the conscious thought is, man, I know what this guy's going to say. Therefore, the unconscious emotion is, I have doubt, insecurity, vacillation. That leads to constriction of the body, which leads ultimately to underperformance. So what you should say to yourself is, man, I'm going to go get it today. Somebody's saying yes. I got to get people on the phone. There's people out there who want my services. I'm the best in the world at what I do. This is going to be fun. So you got to get loose. And what gets a person loose is the way they consciously talk to themselves. Okay. So when I went for a bike ride a minute ago, because just to shake it up a little bit, and I remind myself, you got to tell yourself, man, I'm the best in the world at what I do. There's nobody better at activated Pray Drive than me. There are millions of people out there who need their Pray Drive activated. Okay. So you got to talk. It's self-talk that you really, really have to do. Okay. Any other thoughts today? Travis Hallbrook, you back in the ball game?
Man, I haven't left the game, Coach. I just have been underutilizing you, which is probably my biggest underutilized asset. So
that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Good to see you. I see Christy Payne on there. She's activating her assets. Okay, it's time to go pro. Michael, activating your assets. There's Dr. Stingley. Okay, she said after I had a session with her one day, let's see what she says. I find after a few calls, I'm so on it, optimistic and confident. Here's the deal. Covey taught me this. Covey taught me this. But between stimulus and response is a space, and in that space lies our ability to choose our response. And what that means is I can't control your response to me. I can only control the stimulus. So if this is a game of probability, if I don't take an action, it lowers the probability. So to Dr. Stingley's point, once you make a few calls, yesterday I had a negative phone call, and right after that I had a positive phone call. What if I'd have just hung it up after the negative one? And then the positive one was so positive, I was like, no, that was awesome, man. I loved it. So you're going to have these calls. It's like, I call it the Tom Brady method. Tom Brady doesn't see something as positive or negative. He just sees it as it is what it is. What's negative today may turn out to be positive tomorrow. Losing a Super Bowl one year may cause you to win the Super Bowl the next year. Having a bad game one game may cause you to have a good game the next game. So you can't associate positive and negative with the call. It is what it is. Some people are nice and some people are mean, and some people are interested, some people are not. Some people have good attitudes. So I got to get you swinging. Okay, Coach Breen's a softball coach, and I guarantee you the way you get better, man. I used to have a baseball coach that played for the Cincinnati Reds, and I'll play third base, put me on third. I never played third base in my life. Put me on third base, and he would sit on the third base side of the thing and hit balls as hard as he could at me, like at my face. like over and over and over and over and over. And he would just say, let's go, Burt. He'd pick it up, and he was left-handed, played in the major leagues, and they bounce off my face. And man, after I took about 50 of those, I was like, damn, I'm going to get better at this. And that's what he was saying to me. Just keep taking them. Get your head up. Focus here. Focus here. Get your eyes on the ball. Like he would just over and over and over. And it became muscle memory to me, man. After so many things, it just became natural to me. That's what sales calls are. But if I go into a sales call with a bad attitude, other people can feel it. If I go into it, connect, locate your ambition, see how I can help you, make recommendations, follow up until I bring it to a close. Okay. And I'll give you one more tip. I was on the phone with a guy down in Naples, Florida today. And he always gives me a hard time about weather in Tennessee. And he's looking at a $25,000 program with me. So I was out riding my bike. I messaged him. You know what I said? Weather report, 50 degrees, cold and rainy in Tennessee. Wishing I was in Naples today. Okay. Now I got that part out of the way. I'm going to see where you're at on this deal that we're talking about. Okay. And then I talked about why you needed to do it. This is the reasons you need to do this. Okay. You got a book, but you don't know how to make money with it. There's all kinds. You need a product suite. You need to know how to make an offer. You need to know how to do these things. Now you could not do that, and you're just going to have a book. That's what's going to happen. Or you can let me show you how to do it, which could be worth a couple million more dollars to you. Okay. Now, which would you like to have? A couple million more dollars, or just a book that's not making any money or making a little bit of money? So, okay. So I just have fun with it. I don't get all caught up, and then I go into the next call. Okay. All right. A couple things, Craig, make sure they have the Activate, because some of these people want to upgrade to the VIP. So they get the recording, they get the book, they get a one-to-one call that you can still get with one of our coaches. Great coaches, by the way, hand selected. The Activate event is this Friday. It is 10 to 4. Okay. And I'm going to teach you the psychology of activating your drive over and over and over and over again. So I'm really going to equip you to really go do that. And we got some cool things coming on Friday. It's going to be a great event.
I want to, mention the launch team if you want to tell them, or I can tell them.
For the people who are on my launch team, and I don't know if I've done a good job of explaining this, but if you're on my launch team for the book, we send you the manuscript prior to the book. So you can get the manuscript of the book right now on PDF and start reading the book. And then when the book comes out, what we're asking you to do is be involved in the Flip the Switch private page. We're asking you to give us a review on the book. And we're asking you, is there something else we're asking them to do, Craig?
Yeah, review the book. If you bought it on Amazon, it doesn't matter if you bought the single or if you bought, pretty much the 10. At this point, we're just looking for, bodies to help us market. That's the exchange we're looking for. And in return, you're going to get the book early. You're going to get the manuscript, a PDF copy that you can get in there. We want you to pretty much get in there, read something, be inspired by something, and go share it on social media somewhere. What we will ask you to do is on launch week, which will give you the nod, is to go to wherever you purchase that. If it's through us, we would ask that if you could at least buy a single through Amazon, so we can get that, some credit on that. But what we're looking to do is go and provide some testimony to what you've read. We're not looking for you to lie. We're looking for you to just provide honest to God feedback. And essentially what that does is help us get into the market and lets people understand what Flip the Switch is, who Coach Burt is, and hopefully be inspired. If you guys are inspired, you keep showing up week after week, and if you think it could do something for you, then you might want to consider showing it to your colleagues, friends, family on how we can help them do the same. Because more people like us, entrepreneurs that are activated, we're going to make change in this world. So, essentially you are paying it forward, and that's the way you can help us. Two links in the chat.
Yeah, Craig, make sure the book link is in the chat, because Arturo said the link isn't working for Flip the Switch. So check that real quick.
Yeah.
And Elma asked, okay, who do we call up Friday with questions? You can call Craig. He can answer any questions. We do have a team that's managing that event for us called E3, but he could probably most likely answer your questions or put you on touch. Tim Nelson asked, where are we at? Probably, where are we, Craig? 4,500 to 5,000 copies sold?
In that range. Yeah, we're in that range. And we're still battling for those singles, because we've got a lot of, obviously, people that support us and they bought bulk copies, which there's a good thing. If you buy a bulk copy, we're looking for you to actually find how many people that you might have in your network and provide us those addresses, and we can get some credit for that. You know, when you buy a bulk and you're just going to hand it out at, you know, at your leisure, that's great. Thank you. It helps the total, but it doesn't help us hit that single count, which is super important. So, you know, obviously Coach and I kind of got schooled on how that really works to hit the bestseller. So if you are in the market trying to do one of those, we do know how to do that. We wouldn't be able to be the facilitators, but we know the rhyme and the reason now. So
Yeah, basically you got to have a proportionate number of single units sold to a proportionate number of bulk. So when Ryan Taylor bought 10 copies, okay, then the way Amazon looks at that, if they all go to the same address, it helps us with the unit count. But if they all go to the same address, Amazon counts it as one unit ordered. Now, if Ryan bought 10 and he says, I know exactly who I want to send these to, and we could ship them to those people, and he gives us those 10 names and addresses, then we could actually run those as 10 separate units. And we have a company that actually does that for us in Brand Builders. So if you do know the names and emails of people, or excuse me, the names and addresses of people you want to send them to, then that would actually count as 10 separate units. Yeah. Now, the other thing you need to know when you write a book is there's a long play and a short play, and the short play is to hit the bestseller list. And that is obviously to grow your brand and your brand awareness, but there's also total units sold, to Tim Nelson's question. And if you go out and sell, let's say 15,000 copies of a book publisher, that really gets their attention. And because 90% of all books never sell more than 5,000 copies. Okay, so when you hit 15, the publisher says, oh, we got a winner here. And when you go to negotiate your next book deal, I have an agent, and that agent will say, man, Coach, so, 15,000 units of this book. And that has a lot to do with the advance that you get and the terms in your negotiation. So there's a long play of selling a bunch of copies. There's a short play of hitting Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's all in a 1-week cycle, by the way. So a lot of people are asking me that. Every book sold prior to the launch goes toward the first week. Okay, goes toward the first week. Then they look and see, how many do you have for the second week? So we have a company that will hold some of the copies and bring them out in the second week, so you could potentially hit that list 2 weeks in a row and keep it running. So it ain't easy, man. I'm learning a lot. It's been a great education. It's probably cost me, Craig, what do you think, about 200,000?
Yeah, I was telling him, I was like, Coach, I'm not sure. And I think he shared this. I was like, I don't know if this book thing is a good deal for the business here. I was like, I understand it's a checkbox that we want to hit, and it's a good talking point, and it gets us in different stages. But I was like, man, it is eating up your business.
Yeah, what it does is it cannibalizes some of the business, because you give away so many free things. People buy the book versus get the coaching. And so, it's this there's trade-offs, but it's generated 5,000 leads, and we should be able to recoup all of that money if we're any good at all in our sales. Okay. So just know there's positive and negatives. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for a great pre-drive for lunch. I'm going to keep doing this every Wednesday. So jump on here with me. This was a good session. Activated my pre-drive. I appreciate you guys and everything you're doing for us. Believe in you. Love you. Everybody needs a coach. Okay.